Fentanyl. It could be hiding anywhere, including in your house, including in your medicine cabinet, or maybe at a friend's house when you're hanging out, playing games, and get offered a pill. Don't take chances. If a drug didn't come from a pharmacy directly to you, you can find fentanyl using a simple strip you can pick up at your local pharmacy. Don't take it until you test it, because fentanyl can be hiding anywhere. Brought to you by the Georgia Department of Behavioral Health and Mental Disabilities.
You are about to listen to the Dr. Daliah Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Daliah Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Daliah.
We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. 1-877-DOC-DALI. So we got a lot to get to, but, there's a lot of rumors going on that the Obamas may be breaking up, Kamala Harris and her husband may be breaking up, and there's all these, but interestingly, I know somebody who is about to go through a divorce, and they had basically conveyed that their partner just always irritates them. And I'm a little nervous because I have got to irritate my husband. There is no way 24/7, 365 days a year, I'm not annoying him. I don't mean to annoy him, but I must have habits that annoy him. In fact, you know what? It's interesting. Yesterday, I think I did annoy him. I was listening to Carrie Underwood's Amazing Grace, and it's one of my favorite songs. So I started singing it, and then I had to do it in a different tune because her tune's better. But so then I had to kind of lower it because my voice is lower. And so then I had to, change my pitch. And then I decided, because the cats were there, to include, the cats. I love my Uzis. Okay, so then I had to, put my little Uzi in there. And then I started. And for some reason, I just love singing it. I finally got the right, pitch. And I didn't realize he was on the phone. And so I'm singing. When I sing, you can hear it throughout the house because we have these ceilings and we have this like a little bridge area upstairs. And he never told me that irritated him. And it had to have irritated him. He was trying to have a conversation with somebody on the phone, and here I am singing Amazing Grace, putting in the cats and dogs' names. That had to have annoyed him. And so, I don't think we've ever really spoken about, if you're married or you have a relationship, how to bring up what annoys you, and without feeling like the relationship is going to fall apart. Now, Corey and I mean, we could tell each other stuff, but what annoys me about him sometimes is you could hear his chewing across the room. And if I'm like trying to record something and I hear him chewing, that doesn't annoy me. I mean, I could still live with him for another 30 years, but I need to tell him to stop doing that. Okay. And if I'm in the middle of a record or something, okay, telling him to stop that doesn't really bode well. So when you live with somebody, there is no way you love 1,000% of everything they do. Now, mind you, in the honeymoon period, anything they do is cute, but eventually the farts stink. Eventually the burps get annoying. Eventually the jokes aren't funny. And so now you start to go into a more realistic, normal sort of part of your relationship. And most couples will not say anything. They will not say anything. I mean, how many of you are with a partner who can't sing? And you need to tell them that they're awful. And you don't know how to do that. I fear for my husband because, when I get invited to sing the Star Spangled Banner, I look to see how he responds. If he's like, oh, God, oh, no, please, our country doesn't deserve that. Yeah. Or is he like, oh, that would be good. So what I recommend is never not communicate and communicate early. Now, do I practice what I preach? Oh God, no, absolutely not. I lie to my husband all the time. But what you can do, so how I do it is I bring up the medical. So rather than it looking like it's personal, because some people take things personally, I bring up the medical. I go, interestingly, I could hear you chew. Are your teeth okay? How's your jaw? I'm wondering if you have some mild malalignment of your jaw as I hear your teeth hitting each other. Oh, or if he's chewing gum and he's chewing it loud. I don't like loud chewing gum. I don't think I'm supposed to hear anybody chew gum, and he chews loud. I'll bring up, your tonsils must be swollen, or I bet you're getting a cold. Why? What do you mean? Because interestingly, I could hear you chew your gum. I bet you're having some airway obstruction. Oh, really? So I twisted it to something more medical, Like, how do you tell your spouse that the pants they're wearing are too tight? And it's, again, if you aren't in a relationship where you could say, look, you're putting on some pounds. If you're not in that sort of relationship where you could do that, then you could say, you know what? The dryer's been shrinking our clothes. I've been looking like my clothes don't fit. Are you having the same thing? Yeah, I'm looking at your pants right now. I think the dryer shrunk them because you haven't been gaining weight, but the pants look too tight on you, so it's got to be the dryer. So now, if they could read through that, then they read through that. But for the weight issue, my husband and I have had very honest conversations about that. Like, we're worried about each other's health. Let's do this. And with weight, I told you the best way to bring up weight is say we're both going to do this. I go, I want the whole family to diet, or I need to lose weight and I need you to help me. So can we start making our meals more fish and vegetables? That kind of thing. So, group effort, turn it into they're helping you. And me, in the meanwhile, you're trying to get them go, I don't want to walk alone. I don't want to walk outside. Will you walk with me? Because I need to burn some calories. And I could really, have your handsome self, be my bodyguard. And now you're making them walk. So, there's manipulation. Absolutely manipulate. So all marriage is manipulation. I mean, I had to convince my husband to live with me till death do us part. Do you really think there was no acting involved? I mean, come on. I mean, this is, if we act like ourselves, we're insulting, we're rude, we're this. So yeah, we have to play it nice. We have to curtail, we have to filter. But you still have to have some honest conversations. Within that marriage, there has to be at least some semblance of honesty. And if something annoys you, you got to hit it head on. 1-877-DOC-DALIAH.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by right now to answer your questions for free. They'll tell you if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-710-5100. I'm here with spokesman John Wolf. So, John, tell our listeners who should call right now.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me join you to answer the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, give us a call right now and find out how much your case is potentially worth. Call 800-710-5100.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. If you think you deserve compensation, call now to find out how much you qualify for. 800-710-5100.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
At Hotshot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems. For example,
diesel fuel cetane levels.
The cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hotshot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts.
Hotshot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hotshot Secret, powered by science.
In a study, it was found that 33% of 44 herbal supplements had no trace of the advertised herb. Don't let that happen to you. Hi, this is Dr. Mitch. If you want to ensure quality, please go to totalwellness.com. Supplements made for physicians only now available to you too. totalwellness.com, helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.
All right. We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer. And big thanks to y'all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or X at Dr. Daliah, Facebook, The Dr. Daliah Show, and on YouTube. Click like and subscribe. So AI scares me a little. I'm scared because I don't think we know what we're doing with it. And I'm not scared like a Terminator 2 movie scared, where robots take over and kill us. But I'm scared because humans are relying more on computers than other humans. Humans have started to decide, as it pertains to medicine, as it pertains to mathematics, as it pertains to just basic questions, to go to the AI bots and have them figure it out. That scares me. I like the idea of having a backup. I like the idea of something that could scour all the data and come up with a conclusion, but it's not very objective. We found AI to be very biased. Somebody asking, where can I, vote for, or just asking the difference between Trump and Kamala Harris, very stark differences in the undertones. But AI is coming. It's going to come from my job. It's going to be used. Now that we have that, you can't stop the science. Once you have that technology and that ability, it's going to be here. And in terms of my job, I'm going to be replaced in a heartbeat because patients want AI. There is such a demand for there to be a non-human saying, no narcotics. Sorry, I can't, write the narcotic, based on, what you're telling me, or I can't write you an antibiotic because what you have is a virus. And, patients used to get whatever they wanted from doctors. Now, I used to give antibiotics for bronchitis all the time, the Z-Pak. The Z-Pak makes me feel better. But because of antibiotic overprescribing and all the changes in medicine, we're being asked to stop writing antibiotics for bronchitis. And so, because they don't want us using antibiotics on viruses. So patients don't want that. They know what makes them feel better. They don't care that it's a virus and it could last 10 days. They feel better on an antibiotic, so they want one. And they are begging for the doctor to be removed, so all they have to do is get their prescription and go. And so I'm a little concerned that you're not going to, with AI, get the whole package. Remember I told you there was a patient coming in for a refill of a medication? Well, if you did that with AI, the AI would then give you the prescription. But I'm looking at this woman and her neck looked funny. And I'm like, I hate to say this, but can I know you just had a physical, but I'd like to ultrasound your thyroid, do some thyroid tests. She ended up having thyroid cancer. And when I did some more tests on her blood, she actually had a myelodysplastic syndrome, but blood cancer. Now, AI would not have picked that up by somebody typing in I want a refill of my Lexapro or antidepressant. There's other things that we are able to pick up on, and instinct is something that AI cannot replicate. But patients don't want instinct. I've had patients call in with rectal bleeding to the telemedicine company. And I'm like, have you had a colonoscopy? Oh, no. I don't want that. Just give me hemorrhoid medicine to stop the bleeding. Yeah, but what if the bleeding is cancer? Oh, it's just a hemorrhoid. But what if you have a hemorrhoid because you have a mass and you're pushing so hard to get the poop out that now you've made a hemorrhoid? I don't want it. I don't want to get checked. They've turned, society has been like, well, if you could do something online, then you could do something online. And then everything is done online. And so my fear with AI is that it's going to be used more than humans. And can you blame society? Some of these humans, Fauci, this is what happens when you have somebody at the helm that maybe AI would have done better. But another reason why I fear AI a little bit is because AI will give you the best answer. I'm not saying best in terms of best for society, but the best answer for AI. And so if you give AI the issue of, look, our hospitals are overwhelmed. We only have 6,300 beds in a state of 3.5 million people. What do we do when there's a pandemic? And AI might say, let the older people die. You salvage your resources for those that have more longevity. Okay, we don't want that in society. We don't want anybody saying let them die or send them back to the nursing home and infect everybody like what happened in New York. If somebody gives AI a question about the food shortages, and if we are going to be scarce on food, what do? AI may give an answer on how to depopulate. If you want to solve the hunger crisis, AI might say, then you need to look how scary that could be. Obviously, if there's fewer people, then that mitigates food shortage risk. But what is somebody going to infer from that recommendation? Fewer births, more abortions, allowing sick people to die without help. So my fear is, what are we going to how are we going to rely on this? Now, because AI is here, and right now it seems really chaotic, I actually support Trump trying to set up a infrastructure for it and a way to test it, monitor it, work with it, understand it. And he wants to create this company called Stargate. He met with OpenAI Sam Altman, SoftBank CEO Masayoshi Son, Oracle's chairman Larry Ellison. And they all kind of talked about this largest AI infrastructure project in history. Each company is going to invest $100 billion to start. They are going to end up putting, I guess, $500 billion into this. It's going to eventually be expensive. But Trump says the project is expected to create 100,000 U.S. jobs. And Stargate will build the physical and virtual infrastructure to power the next generation of AI, including data centers around the country. Now, apparently, Ellison said that there's a 1 million square foot data project already under construction in Texas. Now, AI leaders have said we need more chips, more electricity, more water resources to run them. And there's a lot of artificial intelligence, plans in the works. Elon Musk, whose job is to mitigate spending, doesn't seem to be a big fan. He says, he posted on X, they don't actually have the money in response to the funding. Now, we don't want America to spend any more than they have to, but if these companies want to be a part of it, Trump, you see what Trump did like with his inauguration? If you want to come to my inauguration, you pay. And so Bezos and Zuckerberg paid. You know, I mean, the fewer taxpayers being involved, the better, I think, in a way. But then these guys all get their piece. And so I don't know how much Musk is on board with this, or if his job is to curtail spending. I mean, you know, everyone's like, oh, yay, Elon Musk and Trump are, are going back and forth. They're fighting. All Musk said was they don't actually have the money. SoftBank has well under $10 billion secured. I have that on good authority. So Elon Musk is his own self-made billionaire. He's a very intelligent man. Trump is an intelligent man. I mean, we have intelligent people on all sides of the aisle. And so everyone's like, oh, no, they're clashing. Trump's only in office 2 days and everything's falling apart. No, everything is not falling apart. Just everybody calm down. But these shall we say, ambitions to do things on the AI front, on the healthcare infrastructure front, on the border and all that, nobody is going to get 100% of what they want. And it's interesting. I think it was Speaker Johnson who said we can't let perfect be our downfall. If a bill isn't perfect, because, you know, these Congress people, they don't want to vote for something that has one line in there that can make them look bad. But eventually everybody has to, in order to work together, say, okay, well, I'm okay with this. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But like I said, I'm mixed on AI, but it's coming. 1-877 Doc Daliah.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save the typical family $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works. It's been around for more than a quarter century, and members have shared more than $3 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Dr. Daliah, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So, yes, Trump is spewing out executive orders after executive orders, and he is making good on his promises. And psychologically, what he's doing is smart, because a lot of these things need to be codified in Congress. But if Congress doesn't pass them, he at least could say, I did what I promised. Now, so his executive orders show he's doing his part. Now it's up to Congress to decide if they're going to secure the border, if they're going to, reevaluate, our healthcare expenditures with Obamacare and the subsidies going to insurance that just keeps rising, et cetera. And so one thing that Trump promised he was going to do is end DEI hiring. And he has ordered all federal diversity, equity, and inclusion employees placed on paid leave. Now, you're going to hear the headlines saying he fired everybody. They're on paid leave, so they're getting paid right now. But the department heads and agencies have a deadline of no later than 5 p.m. today to, one, inform the employees that they're going to be put on leave, but a plan needs to be submitted by January 31st on how the employees are going to be dismissed. So they are on paid leave. They're getting still their salaries, but they're going to either have to be transferred to other areas or just let go if it was a department that was created under Biden. And I know people are acting like this is a shocking move. It's not, because these were temporary. When let's say a judge gets appointed, he's only appointed for that time until the election. And then he might lose his seat. He might not be there. If Biden decided to open up some offices or open up some departments, then obviously with Biden leaving, it's going to be a new sheriff in town. There's going to be other sorts of departments. DOJ is going to hire 20 employees. I'm glad only 20. I'm glad this isn't a multi-thousand sort of hiring thing like they did with the IRS. Tens of thousands, 89,000 new IRS agents? So DOJ is going to have 20 employees. And from what I understand, DOJ is supposed to end by July. They're supposed to figure out where to cut the spending, help figure out how to balance the budget, find ways to save money, and then, great, thank you, job done. None of these jobs that have to continue. So it's a very interesting concept. In terms of DEI-related offices, this has been something that I have seen very controversial, even on both sides of the aisle. And the idea that there has to be taxpayer money going into a program that, and we're talking millions upon millions of dollars are going into this, where they make educational videos and things like that, and offers, there's a whole bunch of other things that involve regular America, non-government America. In terms of their hiring practices and their videos and their, I watch video after video about, racism and how we're all implicitly biased and we're all racist at some level. And I think that could be worded completely different, where like somebody who is redhead, or Scandinavian or Russian or China, they look at the world differently because where they are is who their world revolves around them. That's how their atoms revolve. And so obviously Canadians think differently than Americans. Obviously Scandinavians think differently, and so, Americans, look at everybody else as, beneath it. We're Americans. We're the best. But I'm sure China thinks the opposite. Russians think the opposite. So there's always that sort of tribalism. And then in terms of you are going to be subconsciously hurting somebody else because you were raised a certain way, those things can be very easily, not under DEI, but we teach in medical school already that you need to understand that, if you have some misconception about somebody in pain, don't call them a drug seeker. They may actually be in real pain. If somebody is black and is not crying in the waiting room in pain like somebody who might be of a different demographic, don't think that they don't suffer from pain. But most of us students were like, duh, we know that. We know people elicit pain differently. We know where I was worried about how some things were going is when they said, treat everybody the same, give everybody this medication first. And I'm like, but wait a second. People of African-American descent and black individuals may have different vessel structure. They might do better on other blood pressure medications. And lo and behold, the science later said, you might want to look at calcium channel blockers first in this population. And so being aware of somebody's demographic is very important in the medicine world. But people took it too far to go, well, here's the thing. We need to look like we're anti-racist. So what we're going to do is if you're white, you don't get to apply. You don't get to apply for the scholarship. You can't go to this lounge at college. You can't do this. And we're going to show that we are teaching everybody not to be racist. And then, people walk out of these classes. I've had a lot of students tell me, look, is that how people look at us? Like we're all racist? I thought I was doing good. And you not to mention what these kids are thinking who are younger. And so, listen, our country did some horrible, horrible things to individuals, segregation, slavery, what the Nazis did to Jews, what has been done to the LGBTQAI plus community. It is astonishing that human beings could be so evil. And I get that we don't want those behaviors repeated. But you're not going to solve that by brewing more divide. You're also not going to solve that by hiring somebody who may be completely uncertified or proficient in that task because you know what? They're a woman, or they're black, or they're Latina, or they're hire the best person for the job. When we heard, when things go wrong, the first thing now everybody says is, well, was it a DEI hire? What happened at Butler, Pennsylvania with Trump, is it because there were women? You know how me as a woman, I'm like, oh God, now women look bad. Don't hire a woman just because she's a woman. If she is qualified, hire her. But don't say, oh, we need more women. And I've seen that. I've heard employers say that. We don't look diverse enough, so I don't care. The next person that comes in, grab them. And I have seen, I don't want to, get anybody in trouble, but I have seen time and time again that sort of verbiage used. And if you just interview qualified people. Now, you can go and recruit. I understand that there are some individuals who may feel like they could never go to law school or never go to medical school. And there are many underserved communities that might not have access. Increasing access, I think, is definitely warranted. But to say, look, don't even apply if you're a white male, starts to now, reverse what the Constitution says, that everybody should be treated equal. And the fact that we are paying for these programs. Now, I think the best way to look at an application is no name, no describing factors. Just look at their tests, look at their scores, look at their written statement, and then interview them. But it's now gone so far, and so that's what Trump is doing. 1-877 Doc Daliah, don't go away.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by right now. They'll tell you if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-910-7500. That's 800-910-7500. Call now to find out how much your case could be worth.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
In a study, it was found that 33% of 44 herbal supplements had no trace of the advertised herb. Don't let that happen to you. Hi, this is Dr. Mitch. If you want to ensure quality, please go to totalwellness.com. Supplements made for physicians, only now available to you too. totalwellness.com, helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.
Self-reliance. It's not a phrase we hear much in our culture these days. It might conjure up images of pioneers, the West, rifles, strapping men, and strong women. But what does it mean for us in today's world? The New American Magazine has just released its latest collector's edition, Self-Reliance, Foundation of Freedom. In it, the New American authors outline the necessity of self-reliance for a free people, tips for self-reliant living, and the importance of not giving up hope. This unique edition includes articles on the self-sufficiency of the founders, preparing for a worst-case scenario, firearms, financial self-reliance, the importance of community, and many other topics by expert writers. Now, for a limited time, the New American is offering a bundle of 3 collector's editions: Self-Reliance, The Great Reset, and Trump World for just $19.95. Available at shopjbs.org. Visit shopjbs.org today.
Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Dr. Dali, 1-877 DOCDALI. Big thanks again to Talk Media Network for making this show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, for our producer. Big thanks to you all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on X, Dr. Daliah, on Facebook, and on YouTube. Click like and subscribe. So there's been a lot of now talk about mass deportations from both sides, and how people are feeling like there is going to be somebody knocking on your door to rip you out and kick you out of the country, like has happened in other countries when illegal immigrants sneak in, etc. And from what I understand, that is not in the executive order. The executive orders, there's a lot of them. So reading through all of them, and much of the executive orders, they're written to rescind other ones. So there's a lot of legally and numbers and titles of other executive orders they might rescind. But there's a lot of confusion, and I don't think we're really hearing from the media what exactly is happening. As we said before, what my take is the first thing they want to do is curtail cartels, Tren de Aragua, gangs, and criminals. If there are individuals who are known criminals that are in America, they're out. Okay, they're not going to wait for another Lake and Riley murder. That's why the Lake and Riley Act has already passed the Senate, is going back to the House, and then maybe going to Trump's desk, where we're not going to only wait until somebody has had violent crimes, even if, because the person who murdered Lake and Riley had a rap sheet that only included larceny and some burglary. And so according to, the previous administration, somebody like that would not have then, been deported. Well, Trump doesn't want them to wait for there to be a more serious crime. And so the Lake and Riley Act, that has to come from Congress. But the White House, Trump wanted to do a few things. Number one is he wanted to ensure Americans that he was not going to let Tren de Aragua, that's already in Nevada, that's already in multiple states, to continue to brew and grow and take a stronghold. He also wanted to ensure that the cartels weren't setting up shop, as well as other sort of individuals from China or Russia who could be our enemies that easily get in under the previous administration. Another thing he wanted to do is to scare individuals into maybe leaving on their own. And so rather than, I told you I've worked in places, and we did this too, where it's like, okay, we need to drug test. And so we would say, look, just want to let everybody know we're going to be drug testing next week. All right. There's been some, complaints, et cetera, whatever. So we're going to do drug testing. And the funny thing is 2 or 3 people would leave. And we handled that. So when Trump was being very adamant about, if you're here illegally, you're not going to get to stay. That scared people. And some people decide not to come. Some people decide to leave on their own. But according to his executive order, he says he wants to ensure that all previously unregistered aliens of the United States comply with the requirements of Part 7 of Subchapter 2 of Chapter 12 of Title 8 of the United States Code. So you guys are going to have to cross-look that up. Ensure that failure to comply with the legal obligations of Part 7 of Chapter 2 of Chapter 12 of Title 8 United States Code is treated as a civil and criminal enforcement priority. They said the Secretary of Homeland Security, in coordination with the Secretary of Treasury, shall take all appropriate action to ensure the assessment and collections of all fines and penalties that the Secretary of Homeland Security is authorized by law to assess and collect from aliens unlawfully present in the United States. Within 90 days of the date of this order, the U.S. Secretary of the Treasury and the Secretary of Homeland Security shall submit a report to the President regarding their progress. In terms of detention facilities, the Secretary of Homeland Security shall promptly take all action and allocate all legally available resources or establish contracts to construct, operate, control, or use facilities to detain removable aliens. Because if they have somebody that got in, where do you detain them? The Secretary of Homeland Security shall take all appropriate actions to ensure the detention of aliens apprehended for violations of immigration law, pending the outcome of their removal proceedings or their removal from the country. Now, this keeps going on. And so they want to ensure voluntary compliance with the law. That's, I think, related to the states and the sanctuary cities. Visa bonds. The Secretary of the Treasury shall take all appropriate action in coordination with Secretary of State, Secretary of Homeland Security to establish a system to facilitate the administration of all bonds that the Secretary of State and the Secretary of Homeland Security may lawfully require to administer the portions of the INA. And so it's not a very easy text. And that's why the media is summarizing it as, if you get caught, you're out of here. But the local police department, Las Vegas Metro Police Department, wrote this in response. And they said it is the policy of this department to recognize the dignity of all persons, regardless of their national origin or immigration status. LVMPD serves to serve and protect the community with the highest regard for public safety and professionalism. They are committed to community-oriented policing as a strategy that focuses on developing relationships with community members, regardless of the immigration status of a suspect or victim. Although Nevada peace officers have the authority to assist in enforcing federal laws, LVMPD officers will not enforce immigration violations. Officers will not stop and question, detain, arrest, or place an immigration hold on any individuals on the grounds that they're an undocumented immigrant. However, LV Metro Police Department will share criminal intelligence regarding transnational organized crime and international terrorism with any and all law enforcement agencies, to include ICE. Citizens reporting suspected undocumented immigrants will be referred to the local ICE office. They say when a foreign-born individual is arrested and charged with a violent felony, domestic violence, and or driving under the influence, DUI, the Detention Services Division will notify ICE at the time of both booking and release. These charges have the highest impact on public safety. Las Vegas Metro Police Department will not delay the release of an inmate for ICE. However, we will honor federal judicial warrants for arrest from ICE. If ICE is not present at the time of the inmate's release and there is no judicial warrant, DSD will release the inmate. So basically what they're saying is they're not going to be stop and show me your papers. They're not going to take somebody who's at a grocery store going, I think you're illegal. They're not going to profile. But if you're a criminal and you're here illegally, ICE gets involved. And they are going to work with ICE. But they're not going to go and start rounding up people that the media says is going to happen. Now, being a daughter of an immigrant, I get that this could be very scary and the unknown. I mean, this is a very, very bold action that Trump is taking, which he wouldn't have had to take if it wasn't such a mess with the border. And the problem we have is we can't necessarily accuse somebody who got in illegally, trying to protect their family or tried to seek refuge, as they're going to be a criminal. On the other hand, we can't, like with Laken Riley's murderer, wait for the murder to happen to remove somebody who's a criminal. And yes, you're innocent until proven guilty, but if you have a known criminal or somebody is committing a crime and they're also an illegal immigrant, why do we have to keep them? They're not helping society. So Las Vegas Metro Police Department is saying public safety comes first. 1-877-DOC-DALIAH. Don't go away.
Did you know that healthy arteries make a gas? Yes, actually 3 known gases. Hi, I'm Dr. Mitch, and nitric oxide is a gas that's readily made all day long to keep our arteries open by relaxing the blood vessel walls. By doing this, our circulation is increased, bringing blood, oxygen, and nutrients to every part of your body. Both age and poor diet can lead to a loss of this precious gas, and in turn, blood pressure can go up, energy can go down, and you can get tingling in your hands and feet. Well, our product, Ultimate Nitric Oxide, can easily help fix this lack of nitric oxide. Go to TotalWellness.com. That's TotalWellness.com, where we are helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.
Fentanyl. It could be hiding anywhere, including in your house, including in your medicine cabinet, or maybe at a friend's house when you're hanging out, playing games, and get offered a pill. Don't take chances. If a drug didn't come from a pharmacy directly to you, you can find fentanyl using a simple strip you can pick up at your local pharmacy. Don't take it until you test it, because fentanyl can be hiding anywhere. Brought to you by the Georgia Department of Behavioral Health and Mental Disabilities.